Anyways, I'm streaming, or I'm not streaming, but I'm recording, so we're good to go.
Hi, Mum.
So,
Okay, but wait, before we start, can I attempt an intro at least? Because I think people deserve an apology because we haven't recorded for about a month due to obviously personal issues on my side.
well, it's just I don't know. It's just been bad scheduling, pretty much.
Yeah, well, bad scheduling. I've had a lot of personal issues to deal with, and yeah, we apologise to any viewers, any fans out there. So
Everybody except for Fabian.
fuck it.
No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, fuck Fabian. So speaking of Fabian, we'd like to welcome onto the show today, Fabian and Shas.
Hello, boys.
I always hesitate to say the second part.
Yeah.
After Shas, it's Shas. Udas.
No one can pronounce it, so don't worry about it.
Just
It's,
Shas.
yeah, it's like in-game name from years and years ago. Udas.
Shazudas.
It's a little bit of a mouthful, so just go with Shaz, bro.
We'll
Yeah.
stick with Shaz.
It's
like
just-
when we had Milos on, and like we spent about 20 minutes trying to say his name, Hassan, something like that.
Yeah.
Gaston.
Ha! Like what?
Yeah, it's like Emzo calls all the pro league casters by their real name except for Milosh, because
Yeah.
like nobody can pronounce it.
No, not gonna try that one.
Yeah. So
Bless
but
him.
I mean, nobody's gotten mine right by it, but, like,
That-
so far.
that one
Nobody
upsets
knows mine.
me. Is like everyone. It seems like every time people cast one of your guys' games, they pronounce your name differently.
Yeah, Fabian.
Fab.
I mean, nobody gets it because, like, it's a French name, but in Swedish. So it makes no sense, really. So
Fabian.
people yeah, that was actually way closer than what the casters do,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Please correct me if I absolutely butcher this, but it's something that my friend told me, and I'm going to absolutely butcher the pronunciation. But here we go, Jag älskar dig, something like that. I've probably
Yeah, that's
butchered
not-
it completely.
Slightly close.
Wow.
Isn't it supposed,
That's
to be
like
I love
saying-
you or something?
yeah, but that's like pronouncing it like this. I love you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Alright, anyway, forget that. So I think we've got to say 2018 6 Invitational Champions. Congratulations, the pair of you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well,
It was
Congratulations.
just the
Easy
two of
peasy.
you. You two
Yeah.
versus everybody else. Nobody else did anything.
Well, I mean, Fabian was grand final MVP, and you know, Shas is just best
That was
coach
pretty
EU.
spicy.
So
I mean, I
Yeah.
claim I'm the best player in the world because of that.
Yeah. No, Fabian
The most
is
important game.
yeah, and also the second most important game of all time in Rainbow Six Siege versus Mocket Esports. You also MVP'd, so that's pretty spicy. Which
I
has
mean, it's probably the hardest game I've ever played.
yeah
Since the team had me, we won that quite.
yeah.
yeah.
Easy peasy. You are the team, right? You're on the
Yeah,
backbone
yeah.
of the team. And I'm just sitting there like the water boy, you're fanning you and whatnot, and making sure everything like temperatures are all right. She's not gonna blow, Captain. She's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems fairly right. You forgot the fan in Brazil, and that's why
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, exactly. You know, I'm in your hotel room with endless reels of toilet paper to supply you. All good.
Dude, that's actually funny because Milosh mentioned that it's like the AC was
Yeah.
broken in the casters like the casters
In
booth
Sao
or whatever
Paulo.
in Sao Paulo, and their AC was broken, and it was like 10 hours of casting in like 40 degrees or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
was rough.
they were also saying like every time that the camera cut off them, they'd have someone come in like tap them with towels and stuff.
Yeah.
Dry the sweat off their face, try and get the makeup sorted and stuff.
Yeah, but you can see it if you look back and once you know
Yeah.
you're knowledgeable about it, you can see how uncomfortable it is because it was uncomfortable playing as well. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was
So
insane.
it's like you mentioned, obviously, before we recorded the semi-final against Black Dragons, the amount of obviously boos you received from the home crowd.
Yeah, well, it's Brazil, and I get it. Like, it's not such a rich country as anywhere else in Europe or America, so they're quite nationalistic, and they like their home team. So I get it, but I think it was a little bit of a shock to us, Fabian, wasn't it? Because we got up there, we're used to not being the fan favourites, but it was a bit of a shock to have everyone boo at us and be quite animated while we were playing. So new experience.
I mean, our
glad for
fan
that.
base is kind of split. We don't really have that nationalistic fan base because we don't have a nation to represent.
You're a Finnish team now, technically, majority-wise.
Yeah, I have to kick one of the Finns.
Yeah.
You
They
leave it
speak
out.
Finnish to each other, and it's so
Okay,
annoying.
I think you should do a flip of the coin for that. You
Yeah.
know? Heads it's Unas. Tails is Shate.
Just make one of them move to like Norway, and then that way you won't have 2 Finnish players.
No, we need a coin with a 0 on, and then if that hits you,
Like,
if it hits the 0, we kick Jonas because he gets many of those lately.
yeah.
Oof.
Bless him.
It's getting hot.
Yeah, he's gonna be angry.
Do you know what I missed? The transformation from Unas to Yunski.
Yunski.
Well,
That's
he lost his
Yunski.
2 zeros.
That,
Yeah.
He got 2
That is
0
okay.
frag games in Katowice LAN year 2 season 1. So he removed his zeros.
Let's
And
be
then
real
now-
though.
He had
Katowice,
his third one.
Katowice and Cologne were too easy. Like, doesn't even matter how many donuts. You guys could have 5 donuts on your team, still winning.
I mean,
Well,
that
it
makes
like
no
a
sense.
Fabian, they win. So
Yeah, as long as you're...
True. But I don't know. It's like Unas plays such a unique role within our team that he doesn't even need to get frags, and he does so much for us. It's insane because he just pushes and pulls the other team into doing so many mistakes. So
Yeah,
the
he's...
donuts don't really matter.
That's one thing is like like there's this separation, of course, between like fraggers and support players, and how it's like you can't talk shit about support players if they're not getting kills because they're still like doing stuff. But fraggers, even if they're not getting kills, they can still be doing just as much, right? Like if you're playing like an aggressive roamer, like, you know, pre nerf Ella, or like even Ella now, but she's not really that much in the meta. But
You don't even need to get a kill. You can basically just exert some presence somewhere on a certain particular flank of where they're attacking and fade back out of that area, and you've still done you've pressured them, you've delayed them. They're maybe going to redrone. It's going to delay them maybe like 20 seconds, and that could be all you need.
Right. Yeah, and that's like something not a lot of people notice. And you can't really tell during like Pro League matches either, and it's definitely something that EG struggled with a lot in the finals, is just killing a lot of drones is just massive. Like it will win you rounds if you kill like 3, 4, 5, 6 drones. And that's I mean that's something that the EG players have said, that they just struggle with having any drones left at the end of the round.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed going into it. We were killing quite a few drones. They weren't throwing them at us, but they were droning and they weren't really backing up the drones with anything else.
Right.
I mean, did you notice that as well, Fabian, when you were playing?
I mean, it's hard to notice things like that when you don't sit behind. We drone count, but after 6, 7, that's when you start losing count, because then also people would be dead, so you don't actually know exactly how many there are left.
Right.
I mean, the entire final, I mean, so many emotions that people don't remember things.
Right.
Yeah, it was rocky for us. It was.
I mean,
very
we
rocky
showed
final.
the 2 first maps. I would say we showed completely. People weren't there, and then they started choking more and more, and eventually turned into a fest of who could choke the least. And we choked less, I guess, and then we won.
Yeah.
It was a slug of a match. Like it wasn't. Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh no, that's all right. Ladies first.
No, I was just gonna say. Oh, I thought my fucking PC turned off for a second there. I was just gonna say that it was a bit of a. It wasn't a good game from a technical standpoint. Like neither teams, in my opinion, played to their fullest or played particularly well. But it was one of those games where everyone's emotions are the maximum. The brains are shutting down because there's so much going on emotionally. There's a crowd around you. The pressure's all on. So it's one of those slugfests of more of endurance than peak performance, let's say.
Yeah, I think I agree with you when you say that obviously it was neither team's best performance by a mile, but on the last map on Coastline, I think my heart was beating probably nearly as fast as yours, Fabian, while playing, because like I will admit I'm not trying to like sound rude or anything, but I'm not a fan of your team. I don't support your team like all the way. I kind of have a widespread, you know. I respect everyone for how they play and stuff. But obviously, I'm not a fan of your team.
Going, Fabian. Let's go.
Toxic podcast host.
Oh, so it's only going to be 30 minutes interview
it's,
today?
obviously,
They had no one else to come up.
You lot versus EG. You lot versus EG. I was cheering for you guys all the way. Obviously, EU beats NA, so like my heart was pounding. I was like, please. I swear, like the last round was Pengu. It was a 1v2, wasn't it? Pengu when it was a banner. Yeah, like my heart was like, please. I think I was literally on my knees praying, like, please, for the love of God.
It was a really interesting match because of like you said, like maybe not both teams were playing to the absolute like peak, but I feel like there's so many like weird situations that kept like coming up, like the spawn kill onto the glass, Junis and stuff like that, and the comeback from 4-1, and then like all these like weird clutches. And I think you, Fabian, and Pengu got a 2v5 one of the rounds on Coastline as well. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It was a really exciting match because it's like every round is just like a just insane
Pandora's
story.
box, you
yeah,
know what's going to happen.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the Glaz peak to the Glaz def to the dock or the rook, whoever it was, up in hooker. That's just it's all.
I
poor
want to say
decision
it was
making.
Canadian. I want to say it was Troy.
It was Canadian. It was.
I
Canadian.
called it.
Yeah.
I said, stay still for 5 seconds. I don't give a shit where you spawn. Stay still for 5 seconds and he will not get you. What does Udas do?
Runs
Do
out.
ear
straight
tags.
away.
Well, it's the
Beers
same
and
with
then
everyone, Fabians. Everyone's blood's up. Like they're thinking, like, let's go, let's do it. And it's just that, like,
Yeah.
people aren't really taking that many
Yeah.
considered actions, really.
No, but then it's just fucking follow the goal and
Yeah.
done with it. I mean, 5 seconds we can waste definitely because we're one of the fastest teams in the pushes. We take control and we take bomb site with time left, so we don't screw
Speed,
up on
violence,
time.
momentum.
What I wanted to say is, obviously, after actually winning, obviously, all that adrenaline's probably been. You're not feeling that tired, obviously, because you've won. You know, you've got that surge of adrenaline because you know you've won. Like, it's giving you that last little push once you've won. But what were the effects like after the match? Obviously, 3 hours worth of gameplay, then like the trophy presentation. Like, how did you guys feel after completing all of that?
I couldn't hear what people said. I was in my own world.
Yeah.
I don't remember most of it.
Yeah, same with me. It was like we were on the stage, had a little chat. Like my brain wasn't really working. I was half in shock because after being 0-2, like half of me was like, we've lost, and then coming back 2-2.
Reverse sweep.
Like, yeah, my heart's in my mouth. Like, I don't know what to think. I don't know what's going on. I'm exhausted. Like, it's all quite a lot when you think about it, especially when it went to the final map and then it's 4-4.
No, man.
Yeah.
The stress levels are high, but yeah, it was good. I think the first thing we did once we got back was have a glass of champagne, and then we just basically went and I had a shower for like an entire hour. Just stood in the shower, and everyone just relaxed, and then we went out for a drink. So.
My question right now is, where's the hammer?
Oh, we don't get to keep it, unfortunately. So it's
that's
still in
bollocks.
Montreal. So we're going to go back in a year and get it again.
Mm. You guys get
Keep
that?
it for
Do you
like
guys?
keep it for that 10 minutes?
Oh yeah.
Do you guys get that small like hammer trophy that they got last year?
There are some trophies on the way.
Right.
We didn't get any there, but I think they had some problems with manufacturing or fabricating them. So we're going to get them a little bit late, but we are getting them.
Yeah. I heard apparently last year they were really like flimsy, like the trophies themselves were really, yeah, I don't know. Apparently, but,
I got no idea.
so I don't know. Hopefully
I
the
don't have
production
any
quality
trophies
is,
yet, so.
is better.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was retired, so I have no idea.
yeah.
No, you weren't retired because we
That
basically
time I was
made
retired. Yeah,
what
boy.
invitationals. No, we basically made the team around invitational time.
Yeah,
Or like 2 weeks
before it.
after.
All the qualifiers, all that stuff. I didn't play the game.
The qualifiers was with like the Penta team, and the qualifiers was with like Rendir and LMs in them, right? Wasn't it?
Quattro Pengu, it was Rendir, Sai,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
and
Toby, wasn't it?
no, Toby wasn't
Did
there.
Toby
Toby was
leave? I
kicked
can't
off
remember.
a long time ago.
No, it was for the nice watch, El Tunisiano, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love Toonie.
It's funny. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely been a exciting year as a EU fanboy and resident in terms of Siege, at least.
I think the whole year is whole of year 2. I mean, Penta win, Ents win, Penta win.
Yeah. I don't know. It was. I was a little upset in Sao Paulo that we didn't see a four trophies in a row.
Well,
But,
it was my aim coming into this game as a coach. I mean, when did I start? I started in year 1, season 1, but actually only got in the Pro League in the second season with Phoenix, with Fabian. That was my goal. I wanted to do 4 seasons in a row. So Sao Paulo has upset that, unfortunately, and I need to start again, starting from the Invitationals. So.
Right.
Well, so you're back on 1, back to 1.
Yeah, back to 1. At the bottom of the mountain again. Let's start climbing.
We'll have to talk to you
Roll
guys.
on number 2.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to you guys after the season 3 LAN this year. Or well, the Pro League seasons are different this year, so I don't know exactly how the LAN.
No. This season is the same as previous
Yeah.
ones, isn't it?
Well, this
And
one
then
is a
it
bit
reverts
shorter,
to
I
the
think.
old league format.
This is a transitional season. It's going to be 3 months, and you've got the finals in US. This one, that's going to be 6 months, and then you've got Paris in August, which is slap bang in the middle of the season. And then the end of the season is in November, I believe, and there's going to be another LAN then. So there's 4 LANs still, but the seasons are now 6 months long, and there's a big tournament in the middle.
Well,
of each.
we'll also have the Paris Masters.
Yeah, that's in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And who knows? I think me and Ghost are planning to come to that. So when you go there, maybe we'll see you. Maybe you can do a little live interview. Get a camera.
Is this the Paris Masters, or is this the actual Paris event, the main Paris event with like the 350k prize pool?
Is there a difference?
Because I know that the French have a lot of like internal national tournaments.
Yeah, like the Paris
they're in
Games
circuit.
Week and that. I know.
Like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. But yeah,
I'm sorry, but I don't do interviews with fans, so I'm not going to talk to you guys.
Depends how much you pay.
Fabian, we already clarified. Maze isn't a fan. Don't worry.
No, okay.
I'm definitely not a fan of Fabian.
Ooh, it's getting heated.
He's terrible, that guy. Like, he's genuinely awful at the game. Like, he's probably one of the worst IGLs I've seen.
Yeah.
He does. He feeds off tears.
I'm solo podcast hosting from here on out.
It's like fine.
Maze has been fired.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me. I mean, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. I'm just a randy.
Exactly.
Oh, fuck. I've been called out by Fabian. Shit. Oh, I'm dead.
Xbox Silver. By the way.
Mate, we've literally got... If you look at the general chat, because like I said, these guys are listening live. It's just Dylan and Spleck, the North American guys, just fucking, let's go NA, American flags everywhere. Fuck off, EU's better.
Yeah. NA was good before current Penta. Or before Shas.
Well, year 1, season 1 was Penta. Year 1, season 2 was Junctis.
Yeah.
I think Junctis was the first team to come in and actually like develop proper strategy, though.
Yeah.
And then after that, like the scene just accelerated so fast. And then continue with them.
Obviously, you guys are playing Millennium next, right?
Yeah.
That's your next game. What do you think of Millennium? Because when I watched their game against Oplon, I think it's probably one of the best Millenniums I've seen. The synergy does look there, like Liven said in the pre-match interview. They look a lot stronger than they have done in previous seasons. So, what's your plan? Well, obviously, don't give away too much because they might be listening.
They're looking strong. I mean, they've gone. I think they were floundering a little bit after Siegecast left, and they were struggling a little bit. And I think that they've come a long way. They've recovered. I don't think that they're a major threat to us. I still think you go into a game, you have to respect the opponents and whatnot. But I'm not. I don't lay awake late at night thinking of Cyborg Liven. It doesn't come up to me. So I have an idea of what we're going to do. Obviously, I'm not going to go into what, and I know how they play. And I don't think that their take on the new meta and the new operators is really the best way. Is really going to be what the meta ends up being in. In 2 months. So I'm not under much threat. How do you feel, Fabian? You don't care either way, do you?
I don't really care who we play because I just know that if we play our game, we'll beat
crushes
them.
everyone. Fabian crushes everyone.
I don't fear playing against anybody. I don't, especially not any team in Europe.
Well, if you play with fear, that's a disadvantage on your end. You can't be scared. You've got to go for everything and make sure you win.
There is no fear in the heart of a Lion main. Like Fabian.
I don't even know what to say about that. That's just pure stupid. Holy moly.
I told you, we like to have a bit of fun while we record,
So do you want to give Fabian a little bit?
Stupid.
Do you want to give Fabian a little bit of stress relief and ask him what he thinks of Lion?
Yeah. You having fun there? You having fun there, Fab?
I mean, I'd rather leave the call than that.
So while we're on the subject of Lion, how's the new meta going?
Chaos. Organised
so
chaos.
Stupid.
It's stupid.
It's
very, very stupid.
It's taken the emphasis off of like all the other elements of the game. like the breaching, the denial, the breach, the information game from on defenders. It's just taken that away. Unfortunately, it's just bulldozed it a little bit too much. So there's just seemed to remove a lot of the nuance from the game, especially at pro level. I think I know where it comes from though, because obviously they released Ella and then they went into the next season and they've already gone, oh shit, Ella's OP as fuck, what we're going to do? Oh, okay, we'll release 2 attackers, and then along the way, you know, they've been developing these operators for release, and then they ended up nerfing Ella at the end of this season to the ground, and then, you know, that decision to release 2 attackers has still gone ahead. So I just think that's what's happened in the developing side of things, unfortunately, which has led to today.
With the next season, it's a one British operator and one and one US operator, and then it's a map rework, isn't it? The Clubhouse revamp coming out.
Not sure if it's the Clubhouse or the Hereford, but I'll be looking forward to the Hereford.
I thought Hereford was season 3. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not.
Could be.
No, I think season 3 is Moroccan. 2 Moroccan operators and a whole new map. That is, I think. No, season 3 is Italy. Season 3 is Italy. Sorry, season 4 is Morocco.
Yeah. Well, you guys might know and might not be allowed to talk about it at all. But what are your guys' thoughts on like Clubhouse and Hereford? And do you guys think Hereford will be reintroduced into Pro League? And do you guys want it to be?
I think some of the changes they're making to Hereford are the ones that I've been like shouting at them for a year now. So I'm happy for the rework. I think they needed to bring in some kind of, you know, tool set to rework the maps, because, you know, you think about, you can't foresee all the effects and the implications of bringing out all these new operators and creating all these interactions between the operators. You can't design maps to fit all this complex systems on systems gameplay from the get-go. So you're gonna have to make changes, and they couldn't actually do that. So I'm happy that they're bringing that out so that we can have balanced gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, it only took them 18 months to start doing what we asked of them doing. I think they have a massive issue with not listening to professional players.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same point, like I agree with you, Fabian, but at the same point, it is Ubisoft's like first esports game, so they're learning at the same times. But
yeah, but that's no
with
excuse. Look at the Counter-Strike and look at Dota 2, for example, or League of Legends. All these games are balanced after the highest tier of players, and they're completely balanced after that. And here we come with Siege, and we had operators like Lion that in a good team's hands just breaks everything. And then let's add another Blitz 2 speed. To armor, and he will just run everything down.
It's lucky you're not a good team, Fabian.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that Mockit won rounds because they had Lion.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it. Well,
and
like,
that's horrible. It shouldn't be that they have one operator, they press 4. Now there's
4-4.
Somebody can press 4-4-4 and be good with it.
And have wall hacks, and they don't get banned this time.
Alright, we actually wanted to touch on the Shaiko case, but
I wanted to bring up. I think my favorite representation of the current meta were those 2 rounds on Oregon on NA Pro League in the EJ game, where Ronan, the one round where Ronan just 5-man rushed down the main stairs, which is, you know, incredibly complex, in depth, very very well tuned strategy.
We did it when we lost Habana one game this season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but their strat was a bit more than like, oh, Havana died. Their strat was more like, hey, we're down 8-0, let's just run down the main stairs, and we have all the OP operators, so there's no way to lose. And then the round immediately after that, where they have like 3 people spawn peeking, Doc overhealed himself and jumped out a big tower. Like, that was just the perfect representation of Siege in its current state right now at a professional level.
It's just shows
shitty strats that are so ranked, and teams that are obviously worse, because you don't go 8-0 down if you're not the worst team. And then all of a sudden they pull something out of their behind, start spawn peeking randomly, and they just rush. Yeah, that's definitely the kind of stress that we want winning games.
Yeah.
it just doesn't show much skill, you know?
But this game is turning into an MMORPG. Just you wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what's better to listen to. Everyone having a go at Fabian, or Fabian having a go at everyone.
Fabian's one of those old men with a walking stick sitting in the armchair,
Definitely.
just just ranting and raving about everything. Yeah, exactly.
I just think it's
Boot
like
camps are fun.
I don't quite understand I don't at all understand like how many checks and balances the current attacking lineup had to go through to be in the state it is right now. Like how Lion in his current state got all the way through, and they thought that it was like a reasonable addition to the game, and the same with Blitz and like all this, and it's like
I'm just fearful that what happens is, because a lot of, let's be honest, a lot of game developers do this, where they will bring out something new and it will be overpowered purely just to get the hype up for that operator or that character on that MOBA game, and then they bash it back into line once people have either paid for it or been come back to the game for it or whatever. I'm just
Can I use
fearful it might be that.
Overwatch as an example there? I mean, when Moira was first released, still now they haven't nerfed her at all. Moira is single-handedly one of the best healers and damage in Overwatch, and because just instant release. Even the developer said, at BlizzCon, Jeff Kaplan, obviously the guy that, I don't even know what his position is, but he's high up there. Even he jokingly said how to spell Moira, OPAF. So they knew she was overpowered from the get-go. And it's a lot of games they're taking that route as well. It's just, let's whack something ridiculously strong in there and let people have fun before we nerf them into the ground.
Yeah, well, I don't think Lion should have been released in his current state, same as Blitz. But
whose idea was it? Let's make Blitz faster.
But these changing these things and trying these things out does take a little bit of time, so it's going to take them some time to fix it. But yeah, I agree. These things should have been caught up maybe in the testing phase.
That's
in-house console Silver 4 testing is great.
Oh yes.
That's the one thing that worries me is watching the gameplay. Like no hate to the Ubi developers on their skill level, but watching
they've made a great game.
Exactly.
The problem is they've made such a complex game that it's difficult for them to balance.
But watching that gameplay of the devs playing the Outbreak thing at Invitationals on the Xbox controllers, it was worrying because I was like, is this the level the people who balance this game play at? I don't know.
They need to be given. They need to be given the testing roles to people such as yourselves. Experienced players who are good at the game and know how it should be and have an ideal future of where the game should be at.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but the thing is, I mean, none of us are, directors of these companies or the head designers and whatnot, and they need to satisfy so many different people. They need to satisfy casual players and they need to satisfy the competitive players. So it's difficult, but I kind of do wish that they took a little bit more time to, to explain what their ideas are before they start developing characters, so that we can highlight issues 3 months in advance rather than just the 2 weeks in TTS and then go, hey, look, this is it's a little bit OP.
Take the timeline here then. They announce everything on LAN. That's when everybody starts knowing exactly what the operators do and what powers they have. Just after LAN, some players went to play test in Montreal and stayed 5 days longer. But why play test after you've already announced? You already know exactly what you're going to deliver. Yeah. And then they still release it, and then they put it on TTS. Everybody says it's breaking the game. It's breaking the game. It's the most overpowered operator we've ever seen. Do they change anything from TTS? No, they don't give a shit. They just released that.
One thing that was funny to me when the TTS first came out, because there was one change they made in the TTS, which was Blitz when he was just beyond belief fast at the start of the TTS, when he was even faster than he is right now. That was the most ridiculous thing in the game, was when you would just hear him clomping at you at at 100 miles an hour. It was just
one thing I want to point out about how ridiculous the new attack is. I mean, thanks to Splek, obviously great guy at CGG. Check him out at some point, but obviously always keeping up to date with the stats. He's put throughout week one of obviously the North American, European, and Latin American Pro League, the offensive side has won 53% of their rounds, and the attack has never won over 50% of rounds before.
I have a feeling that the reason the attacking round wins aren't higher is because half of the games played this week were first seed versus 8th seed. So like it's more likely to see more defensive wins from teams when the skill level is more unbalanced, like it is.
When good teams go up against each other, there will be more win on attack.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to defend against a worse team, even if they have Lion.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would imagine that the attacking win rate would definitely go up past 53% in the coming 2-3 weeks.
Well, that's just week one.
I
but
kind of expect it somewhere around like 65.
It's like Spleck has also mentioned that the Glazy Ying meta last season, it was only a 47% win rate for attackers last season. So yeah, it's a small increase, but it's still attackers winning more. I was like, so far the way I've seen it, the only real way to counter a Lion is just go hyper aggressive and kill him instantly. That's about it.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's really just the issue with the game right now. Is it relies like they made this meta that relies entirely on killing certain operators as early as possible, and that's not really how it's fun to play the game, is by having to rely on either you kill Lion off spawn or your team gets crushed.
Yeah, well, the issue with Lion is, first of all, you've got something which is global, that affects everyone.
Yeah.
Secondly, there's not really that much decision-making that goes into when you use it. You've got 3 of them, which is pretty luxurious. You've got quite a lot of charges on this high activity, but it just affects so many different elements of the game. It affects the roamers, the people on site. As soon as you have a man advantage, Lion just enables you to just roll over people, because you can drone, you can push the people that are in that room. They can't move. So as soon as they get a kill, they, as an attacker, you might be entering into a room. Your initial man might die, but your second man knows exactly where they are. Or if they move, they're going to basically have an outline around them. So it's just not really that well thought through, in my opinion.
Yeah, one way that I've found is really effective too, and this is mostly from ranked, so it might not work in the higher levels of play, but when you have a Lion thing active and you're hunting roamers, if you just challenge a guy quickly, shoot like 1-2 bullets at him, if you know generally where he is, a lot of the time they'll move just like a little bit to try and get out of the way, and that's when it's really easy to just re-peek, and of course you have the wall hacks on, and it's nearly impossible for them to win the gunfight.
Yeah, I would have, as a coach, I like to think about how the game's balanced and whatnot. I would have loved to have seen, Vigil. So when he's got his gadget on, he can't be seen by the motion sensor.
But the only problem is with that, it's like I've heard Kick say, and I kind of agree with him. It would make him the single-handedly best roamer in the entire game.
And Caveira, I would say that you should.
Shas is wrong.
So do I.
You don't listen to his opinion. All of what he says from that is completely broken, because you should never have an operator that you have to pick to counter another operator.
I agree. I don't think it makes it better.
No,
I just wish it would have been on top of it.
The only way they can fix this shit is by not having Lion being broken OP. Look at him compared to Pulse. They have pretty much exactly the same thing. They can see people through walls. The difference is Pulse can't shoot. Pulse don't just press 4 once and it starts automatically. It's just he has a range limit. He doesn't show it to friends. I'd say Lion is even better suited in defense. They have fucked up on so many levels. Because let's pretend Lion is in defense. And then you start throwing smokes and flash and you see, oh, a push is coming in. Let's pop Lion. And then you stop a push. That is more of like a viable gadget than it is in attack.
Yeah, and also the attack doesn't rely on moving around as much as on defense, right? Because of the roaming thing we mentioned earlier. That's one of the things that makes Lion so incredibly OP, is that it's nearly impossible to roam against a Lion. But if Lion is on defense, then it's not really like, you can't force the attackers to have to move. Like if the attackers play it smart, they can like counter it more or less, and then he'll be more used as like a late round like plant denial.
It can break up the attackers' timings, but
right.
it doesn't screw them completely.
Right.
Which it does to defenders.
One thing I want to mention is Spleck, who obviously works for CGG, does all the stats. He wanted to ask you guys a couple of questions. So do you mind if we let him in? He can ask his questions. All right, Spleck, fire away. We can hear you.
Oh, hey guys, what's going on?
You've been released.
Hello, Spleck.
So I guess you guys had already talked about the stuff I put in chat a little while ago, but and I definitely agree that I think the win rate will go up for attackers as we have less like blowout games.
Right.
But it's still like 5 or 6% higher than it's ever been, which is worrying because, you know. But anyways, the question I wanted to ask actually goes back to the Invitational. Something that really confused me about the grand final, which, by the way, really great game. You know, I'm a big EG fan, but it was still fun to watch. But no, huge respect to you guys. Great game. But I wanted to ask in the ban phase, I saw this might have been wrong. They might have put the wrong stuff up because I know for a couple games they put up the wrong bans. But the way they said it is that they banned Consulate, which makes sense. Then you guys banned Chalet, which was confusing for me. And then they banned Border, which is fine. And then you banned Skyscraper. So is that how the bans actually went down?
So what did they ban first of all? Sorry, was it?
They banned Consulate and then Border. And you guys banned Chalet and then Skyscraper.
Yeah.
Well, before you fire away, I think I touched on this when I did a bit of analysing. I mean, obviously, like I said, no disrespect to you guys, but Chalet isn't one of your strongest maps, is it?
The thing is, like, historically, it's not one of EG's maps either, but I think this is, like, something that a decent amount of people...
If two teams don't play it, then why bring it? Because you haven't got a clue what the other team are going to bring to it. So...
I think people had a general idea that maybe EG had something planned for Chalet. I don't know if that's why you guys banned it.
EG don't play Chalet at all.
No?
We play Chalet more than EG, but I mean, every time we've played Chalet in a competitive environment on LAN, I mean, I think we played it versus V3, wasn't it, in Poland?
Yeah, it was V3 Masters. Yeah. It was the only map you guys dropped.
And Black Dragon. Yeah, and Black Dragons against in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, exactly. So it was more of a mentality thing on our part that we didn't want to play Chalet with all those bad memories on such a high pressure stage. So it was just purely for our own mindset, not necessarily one that was orientated towards the opponents and what they wanted to and didn't want to play.
Right.
But we've also pulled out the mind games where we pretend we don't know shit about the map, and then all of a sudden we let it through. Since we had BKN before, he knows that we do those kind of things. So he could have tried to pull one against us. We don't like Chalet, obviously. We played bad on it when we really need to play good at it. So what if they would have done that for the final? I'd rather play Cafe or something else that we can do that on because we just didn't like Chalet.
And we'd seen them play Cafe and we watched it and said they didn't play.
They played it the game before against Rogue, didn't they?
Yeah.
So we knew how they played that. We had no idea how they played Chalet. I'd rather pull them into a map that they don't.
We had some material on.
And we have material
on. Can I just ask? This is something that's kind of been nagging at my mind for since the Invitational. Was there any particular strat or thing that you had in mind in the now famous "Watch out for Cafe" quote that Intero told about Shas?
No, we went into that with no strats. We'd only played it once with Chate in practice, so it was just all off the cuff playing.
I made up strats on defense and said, you do this, you do this, you do this, you reinforce here.
And we went pretty freeform from what I remember. It was just, play how you want to play, just let us know what you want to do, and we'll, all try to adapt off of each other.
Yeah.
We also started giving zero fucks completely. We started skipping our playbook. We started playing completely out of the head, pretty much out of what I said, that you play this, you play this, you play this, you go here, you do this, because our playbook just didn't work against them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because the way I saw it was the way Intero presented it. I believe it was Intero that said it. Was like that you guys had some sort of grand counter stratting and like amazing play that you guys were going to bring on Cafe, and of course you won Cafe. So I mean, it worked to some degree, but I was like, I've watched the game a couple times now, and I've been thinking about Chalet, and I'm like, is it the Monty push? Is it the Monty push that was like the secret weapon? Like I've been trying to figure it out.
In some regard, I would say it was, because we used to play Monty on it before, when we practiced, like before when we had KS in the team.
Yeah.
And Monty always worked on that map. So if you look at it, it's kind of like we will still have a guy holding red stairs. Monty will take over piano, and they will push everything to white stairs, and then you will have a guy rappelled on white stairs who kills everybody who tries to rotate up there. And all of a sudden, they have all rotations cut off, and the guys on site will be pressured from 3 different places.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monty just allows you to get safe presence and get control of those areas rather safely.
The Monty was a lot of fun to watch, definitely, because like he's one of those operators where it's like when you see him, it's like that's not a very useful pick, or he's a useful pick, but that's not a very like I don't know, like when you see a blitz, you're like, ooh, things are gonna happen now.
Yeah, it's not an aggressive pick. It's a very somewhat passive, more controlled style of playing the game.
Right, but it worked brilliantly, and yeah. It was fun to watch.
You have to remember that these players, like I've been to quite a few LANs now, and you see these players sitting down playing the game, and you can see the emotion. Like when you present like a Monty, and you're pressuring them, they're going to make a decision. They're going to want to do something. So there's not that many.
I think Shas's internet just died.
I mean, his brain too.
Can we have an F for Shas in chat, please?
There you go. You're back. You lied out there for a second.
Oh, right. You didn't miss anything good. I was just saying that Monty just pressures people into making decisions, and these, players on stage are like highly emotional, highly pressured, and you can basically see them vibrate when you're looking at them in person. So
yeah, he's a really good operator for like stressing people out, because when you're being pressured by a shield like that, and also by blitz to some degree, but normally by blitz, it doesn't last long enough for you to like have a panic attack over it. Normally it's just you see him and then you're dead. But with Monty, it's like I don't know. It's so hard to be close to a Monty because he takes up so much of your mental capacity.
Yeah, the blitz can't stand there, otherwise he's going to get shot in the arm.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's this SpongeBob quote that people like meme with Monty, where it's just like he's just standing there menacingly, but it's so true. Like it's just it's so hard to play against him because it's like stressful. Like I don't know. You have to worry about it. And yeah.
It's just so much information you can reliable, continuous information.
Right.
Even if he has a low pick percent. I mean, Brazilians are you're never gonna see a Monty in Brazil. I think you saw one in like BR6 tournament, but that's just for a plant strat. That's the only reason they pick him.
Right.
Oh, well, Latin America, it's hyper aggressive, their gameplay. It's so much fun to watch. It is.
Yeah. Do you guys worry about the current meta playing against Brazilians
No.
if and when you guys get to LAN? Or do you think it's...
No?
No, not really.
Do you think it's going to be harder to play against them than normal? Or do you think
we always beat the Brazilians.
Fabian fears no man. Sao Paulo.
He doesn't fear anybody as long as he's online.
Sao Paulo wasn't a loss because of strats or anything like that. It was completely a mental shutdown on the team because of internal struggles.
Yeah.
We were arguing before, like we went and boot camped in Sao Paulo for a week beforehand to get like prepared for the sauna that is Brazil, and we weren't meshing as individuals. We weren't a team. We were just
shut
7
down.
individuals. Yeah, unfortunately.
That's one thing that I noticed when watching the games was like it doesn't feel like watching a Penta game because. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's probably just
in Sao Paulo or
in Sao Paulo.
And actually, what I want to quickly add is where you say obviously there were arguments in the boot camp. Is this a contributing factor as to why KS was dropped?
One of them, yes, but
yeah. Not the main reason why he was dropped, but
obviously we spoke to Lazo a little about it. Obviously he coaches 1UP, so he knew a little bit about it. But obviously it's pretty clear you guys will know more than he does. So
we are the oracle of gossip, Fabian.
Yeah, I mean,
are we responsible with this power? I don't know.
I don't know.
Just toxic.
I mean, it was a lot of reasons. If we're gonna go deeper onto it, it was mostly that he didn't want to adapt to what we wanted him to do. We could tell him to do something, and then he wouldn't do it. We would get angry and tell him again, and then he would just shut down completely because KS has the, I would call it a weaker competitive mentality. Whereas if you complain at him or if you tell him to do something different, he will shut down.
Yeah.
I remember.
And he will shut down completely. I've played with him year 1, season 1, year 1, season 2 as well, and it was exactly the same there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I do like is the way I see it, he's been playing a lot better since he's joined 1UP.
Yeah, I would
Like,
agree. I
he's been
think that
He's
it was
been playing phenomenal
English.
for 1UP.
Yeah, it's his English, and because this game is all about teamwork. It is okay.
It's all
Yeah,
about
if you can shoot, you're
communication.
going to do well, and but it's about the teamwork and the communication. So, I just frankly think that he struggled with his English a little bit too much. And you can have a little bit. I'm a lazy Englishman. My forefathers worked hard to make sure everyone spoke English, but for other people, it's their second language, and it's going to be a little bit of brain delay with the call outs and the decision making. So now he's on a German speaking lineup. I don't think he's going to have any trouble at all. I think he's going to do pretty well.
Yeah, I think he's been looking more confident just in I don't know.
But it also has to do with egos in that regard, because the German guys, they can say whatever the hell they want to him. He knows he's the most successful German player of all time.
Right.
They have nothing on him.
Yeah,
and therefore he will never be questioned. He will never be attacked in the same way
I
that
don't
we
know,
could.
Fabian. We don't know what's going on in their own team, do we? So
No, but that's what I would guess. Because I
Maybe.
wouldn't question somebody that has proven themselves to be way better than me. I would never do that.
welcome to Dictator Fabian. Let him introduce. I'm just going to grab a beer. I'll be back in 1 minute. I'll let him go on about his dictatorship of Pakistan.
See, Shas is our friend when he's decided to crack open a cold one with us.
No, he's an alcoholic.
Toxic Fabian.
Yeah. I don't know where to go from there. But what I was briefly mentioning earlier was watching you guys play at Sao Paulo was probably what Shas was mentioning in terms of the teamwork not being there, just translating to the screen, where it's just you can see that the coordination and people individually, the way people were playing was very different from when in Cologne or Katowice, where we saw you guys winning, obviously, a lot smoother. And it's just, it was like watching two different teams play, pretty much.
Because people stopped following calls because the team was super split up.
Right.
I mean, we removed Blast as well, and he was also a massive issue. I would say that his mentality was more of an issue as a coach than KS not listening to us.
Yeah.
And then it became a power struggle within the team where one player, or a coach rather, tried to take power from other parts of the team. And if you start challenging a power structure within a team, that team is going to start splitting up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And therefore we removed both KS and Blast. KS wasn't a power struggle issue. It was mostly that he wasn't performing, he wasn't listening, he didn't want to change.
Right.
And then it just, if you look at the Chile game, we should have won that 100%. 100% in Sao Paulo.
Right.
But we started getting so many massive missed calls. It was people weren't watching cams. It's just all the things add up on each other. It's I played 0-5 in that map. Sure, individual stats were trash. I'll admit to that. But 3 of my deaths could have been avoided by somebody holding a cam.
Right.
Which was communicated. But I don't know if you guys can see on the stream me behind them, but my headset was off. I was just chatting away to BK because I just knew our minds went in the game and we weren't playing our A game. We were playing like trash. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was one thing I was getting to as well was I was seeing that kind of same play style from Sao Paulo in the first match or two, or in definitely the first map, and a bit in the second map of against EG as well, where it's kind of it's not things don't look like they're flowing like they should. And I think that's kind of what you were talking about, Fabian, how I don't remember where it was I heard you talk about it. Maybe it might have been in Matt Andrews' vlog or something. He was talking to you about how, and you were saying how people weren't listening to calls and similar stuff to what you're saying right now at Invitationals.
I mean, it's just different mindsets. And if you have a team that goes in as a team and have the idea behind them that we're going to play it together and fix all our issues, then it's going to work.
Right.
But when you have a disorganized team that doesn't really have the unity or the following of like that one player or that leader, in-game leader, whatever you want to call it, you need a cohesive unit.
Yeah, everybody needs to be working towards the same goal, because the thing is, there's so many different stages to this game. You know, you want to remove bandits from a wall, or you want to take a position. The team needs to be, or at least to split into two groups to, you know, take that objective. Otherwise, if you've got too many arms doing like random things, trying to do all different things at the same time, that's when you're easy to pick apart from a defender's standpoint, because no one's supporting each other.
Right. That's something I can relate to as well, just personally playing is like, obviously I play at a much lower level than, you know, Pro League, of course, but it just, it translates very well to like where there's just this mentality of like, just the tilt that sets in, like in all the teammates where things just aren't going as they should be, and it's extremely hard to change that.
No, I just think you need clear leadership. You just break it down to for like basic level. Step A is this, step B is this, and step C is plant. There we go.
Right.
Or run onto the site and frag everybody.
I think that Splek has another question specifically for you, Shas. So Splek, if you're there, fire away.
Oh, am I unmuted again?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so sort of related to, I guess, like planning and stuff like that. One thing that has been discussed a bit, and I think would be really cool as somebody who's like done coaching myself, is I know at LAN this isn't the case right now, but if coaches could talk during like operator select, and also I guess sort of the rule of like whether timeouts should be a thing or not. I just wanted to know what sort of you thought about that.
I'm going to interrupt before you, Shaz. I'm going to say no. Just no.
So
because then Fabian will be out of a job.
No, yeah,
Karen,
for the simple reason, the coach is not in-game. The coach should not change anything mid-game.
No, because that's the thing, is at the end of the day, I can see everybody's screens. Then you're taking the decision-making away from the guys. This is something that's being discussed in the scene at the moment, because now a lot of teams have coaches now, which is new, which is great to see. Like going to LANs, I remember Katowice, you know, it's just me, the only coach. Oh, okay, a bit lonely, but you know, but now everybody's got a coach, so it's really good that the infrastructure is being developed around these teams. But having influence mid-game, I think, is a really, really terrible idea, because otherwise it becomes a 6-player game.
Yeah.
Well, I
then
think
it just becomes the mind game between the coaches, and then the coaches sitting then taking notes throughout the entire game on exactly what to do, and then you know you can basically say, okay, they did this, they did this, they did this, we do this, we do this, we do this, complete counter, and you've just given a crutch to the team, because they can then just worry about clicking on heads, and then the coach just worries about everything else, and that's not what Siege is about. Siege is about individual players having a memory of what happened 3 rounds ago to then alter their strategy on that particular attack or defense that they're doing now. That's what I think it is about. Okay, it's going to get a little bit easier where there's 5 attacks and then 5 defenses, but I just never think it's a wise idea to create a crutch for a team. You want them to develop themselves. That's what I've done with Penta and the boys, so
that's really
a little bit biased there, I guess.
Because obviously in Counter-Strike it used to be that like coaches could talk mid-round, and so you just get like a coach that was like an in-game leader that was washed up and would like just in-game lead from behind them, and then you'd have 5 fraggers, which I think everyone thought was kind of ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
But do you think that... Oh, go ahead.
I think that coaches should be allowed to call timeouts, because then you can maybe have like 90 seconds, 60 seconds of a timeout, and then you can actually kind of like offload a ton of information, and that might even be mentality. It might just be that you notice that Fabian's tilting and raging at everybody like usual, but this time a little bit more than usual. So you're gonna have a timeout for 60 seconds. You're gonna talk to him. You're gonna make him feel good about life, and then you're gonna set him back off again. Or it could be that it's 4-4. It's overtime now, and you've kept failing against this defense on Clubhouse Basement. You as a coach, you've worked out, your strategy for it to break it, and you can then give that one strategy in that 60 seconds. But if you can just continually talk throughout the entire game, then you're just, it's like when you're learning a bicycle, the training wheels never come off.
All right. It's definitely interesting to hear. Yeah, it's because that's
Thank
an
you
idea.
very much, Black.
Right. Thank you for the
Cheers.
question.
Yeah, no problem.
Take care.
That's one thing that like I heard brought up around the time of Invitational. I was like, oh, that just sounds like a great idea to have the coaches talk to the players. Like it seems like it would make the strategy a lot better. But now, like reflecting on it and listening to what you guys are saying, it definitely makes a lot more sense to maybe, like you're saying, Shaz, to have like a 90 second timeout that can be called just as like
it's in the works.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely the coaches talking like IGLing almost is
a real fear. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I don't do this for just that's how the status quo, and we're doing decent in the status quo, so I don't want the status quo to change. It's like I can literally see all the mistakes that my team Penta makes. So if I can just talk during prep phase, I can just tell every single mistake. I can tell people how to beat the other team, how they're setting up. Easy peasy. So I just think it's ridiculous. Like the pressure and the mentality of the players doesn't really even come into it.
Right. So interesting. I'm happy to. I don't know. That was a good question. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It's a good question when the answer leaves you reeling and wondering what to say.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. One thing I know Maze wanted to bring up. I don't really know if there's anything worth talking about too much, but was the whole dealio with the French players and the whole Shaiko situation and all that. I don't know if you guys
claiming that are you lot protected by ESL?
Yes.
I think was his claim.
Yeah, we bought them out. We've given them the entire 200k prize pool.
That's where your guys'
Breaking news.
invitational trophies went.
Straight into BK's personal account.
Yeah.
No, we're not protected. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that the public don't see. Like, there's some issues with programs and whatnot and stuff like that. And we've forewarned ESL, and we've tried to work with ESL to rectify these issues. And they root around on our computer and make sure everything's as it should be. And there's not an issue. It's just magically not working for some reason. So the whole thing with Shaco and whatnot, I think, was just put way out of perception. I mean, let me just put it this way. We had some really dodgy evidence, and we were looking at it going, well, this is really fucked up. Like, we're going to report this. We reported it. And their defense was pretty much saying, we don't think this is good evidence. We're not going to defend ourselves because we think this is bullshit. And then there was no reply for
months later, Psycho comes up and says, yeah, I got some proof and shit. It meant nothing, I think, because I don't know.
Well, I just, their stance as a team towards because we don't know what it is. Like, we're sitting there thinking, this looks like it's a cheat. And then they didn't defend themselves in the protest and whatnot, and it looks really bad. It looks very dodgy, and because they don't defend themselves, they find themselves removed, and now they want to cry a sub story for some reason, even though they never really defended themselves in the first place. And then they're saying that they didn't have the chance to defend themselves, but they did, but they just didn't take any opportunity on it. So you tell me what you think of that, eh?
That's the thing that's bothered me ever since, like, initially when the news dropped that Beat Genius were banned or were kicked out of Pro League season 2, season 3. I don't remember which it was, but when the announcement came that they had been kicked and that Checo got banned from ESL, I remember being like, well, what's the defense? What like, if they weren't cheating, then like, what was it? Can they just like not just explain like what the thing was? And I know there's like, he came with some like explanation, but it wasn't anything compelling at all. It was like, I don't know if that's like I don't know if it's something people said to make fun of him, but I remember hearing people say like, oh, the 4 is bound to his Elemines, like he just throws a lot of Elemines, and it's like, yeah, sure.
That's what he said.
Right. And it's like, I can understand him feeling like, I can understand the feeling of like, oh, we're getting protested by this team who's like Pro League winners, and of course they're going to get special favors with ESL and stuff like that.
How are we going to get special favors with ESL?
No, but I understand like I can understand that mentality, but then when they don't come with any like excuse at all or any explanation, it's like I don't really see what the deal is.
It's just appealing to the crowd, let's say, because they want to play a victim card, and that's just the way the world is. If you're a victim, you generally get special privileges or favor from the public, and that's what they're banking on to. I don't know, maybe get the ban lifted or what. I don't know what their plan is. Maybe it's just to deface ESL and to do some damage to Penta as well while they're at it. I don't know.
It's someone falling down and they're trying to grab anything to pull down with them. Yeah,
basically.
What was the game like, Fabian? Like, did you guys have this evidence that Shas mentioned? Did you guys have this this dodgy evidence before the game, or was it like during the game that you guys were like, what is happening here, or whatever, or like how was the experience?
I mean, everybody in every
for at least a month
player,
wasn't it?
No, that isn't enough. Half a year, people are saying he's cheating.
Yeah, because I remember
That's the most retarded shit, and it works every time. It's like I played with him in ranked once, and he stood, the corner on coastline, the one that you can just hide in when they attack VIP or something. He leans left towards the white stairs, headshots one guy, reloads instantly. We're talking one bullet here. Then he leans on the right side in the other hallway and headshots the guy once, and then he starts reload. But the thing is, hit drag fucks him. So he starts reloading before he's killed the guy, but he's so sure that he headshots the guy
that kill. Yeah.
That he reloads. After one bullet, 31 bullets in the magazine.
It's a lot of funky decision making and just rotating at exactly the right time. I don't think he should really have that information. Teammates.
Yeah.
He had 5 maps in Pro League. 4 of those 5 maps he had 12 frags on. One he had 6 frags on. Which map do you think they brought as proof that he wasn't cheating?
All right.
We only have proof that he was using a macro. That's the only thing we have proof on. So I can only say that he was a user of macro.
Right.
I can't say that he was cheating because I don't have any proof of it.
There was some dodgy stuff with some of the mosses and some artifacts being present in those mosses, and that could be what was bound to key 4, so that Moss would, Intervilly takes screenshots of your monitor, and it could be that he had a macro that would press 4, which would be a toggle for the ESP to then basically flicker an ESP on the screen, which then wouldn't be captured by Moss. But
now we
don't know. There's no proof. There's only the macro proof.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it like a tilting factor to you guys, or like Fabian in game that you guys were like losing rounds and losing so many gunfights or whatever?
I mean, it's rough playing against the best player in the world, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I would know because I am the best player in the world, Kappa.
You are the best line player in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one thing I thought was extremely interesting was coming into the Invitational. People were, obviously, it was going around, Shartay's one of the best mirrors in the world. Pengu, one of the best smokes in the world. And we saw them switch around. Like, we saw Pengu on mirror and Shartay on smoke. And I think, me including, a lot of people were surprised at that.
So, I'll take this one if you don't mind. So, basically, we play a lot of different... And we play around... We learn to play maps in a particular way where people are generally in control of a certain area of the map. And at the end of the day, if their operator isn't the best operator, the one that they're most comfortable on, they'll go on to an operator that is perfect for the role that they are trying to do on that particular bomb site.
Yeah.
So, if Pengu's pushing off of site and he's going to be quite aggressive as like a loose roamer, semi-roamer kind of thing, then he'll play mirror instead of smoke because it doesn't matter if he dies. Shatay will still be on bomb site with smoke and we've still got that utility to spare.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So that's why you see us on Penta like constantly swapping operators around. We don't really stick to an operator. It's more about what's our job in this round and what's the best operator for us to do that.
That's interesting to hear, because that's basically like fundamentally what Shatay said in the interview before the Penta match last week, and like I've had this theory to some degree, or like this idea ever since you guys started with that playstyle, where instead of having like operator mains, you would people would just play like random operators and everybody would be swapping around all the time.
It's impossible to predict then, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like that.
My theory about that was that it was as a kind of like wild card kind of thing, where say you have like Junis on Ella, one round, and he plays extremely aggressive. He falls back in a certain way, or he pushes up in a certain way when the fraggers push him and stuff like that. And then next round you have Gogon Ella, and maybe he plays it a bit more passive, or he goes for a different flank and stuff like that.
You're exactly right, and it's a side benefit to doing this is that it makes it a lot more difficult to predict. Not necessarily in the macro game, the larger game, but it makes it a lot more difficult to predict on the micro game because that player is going to play ever so slightly different. He's going to react in different ways, and it can throw people off. Like the Ella this round is doing some stuff that's totally different to the last time they saw Ella. So it's an added bonus, definitely.
That was what I've had this theory since Sao Paulo when you guys first kind of brought out this playstyle, and it was like I was certain that it was like, oh, this is some next level play here where this is their entire strategy is to stay as unpredictable as possible. But I guess from the way you're presenting it it's not. It's kind of like a side.
Underlying, I mean, we're all Shreks. We've got many layers. There's an underlying idea or motif to the way that we play, but there's just we try and swap up as many different layers as possible and shake it up a little bit to make it a little bit different. That's all. Because if you do the same stuff over and over again, you're gonna be out of Pro League pretty quick.
I'd like to say that it's probably one of the greatest references I've ever heard.
I had to throw a Shrek in there, mate.
Just fucking, we're all Shreks.
Fabian definitely is.
Fabian looks like
fat
Shrek.
and ugly, so yeah.
Ooh. Maze.
Let these people know who I am, Maze.
Who are you?
Your father.
You need the heavy breathing, dude. The Vader breathing.
Yes, Daddy.
Can you come back then? Because why did you leave me when I was young?
To play Pro League.
I had to get the newspaper, okay?
But you never came back.
Yeah, because you were there.
So what's happened so far between me and Fabian? He's called me a Randy. We've done a little bit of role play. What's next?
I'm
I mean,
very
if you come over, we could start ourselves a porno brand.
Make sure you throw away the cucumber.
I definitely will have to.
Yeah, if he comes here, I'm like sure he keeps coming.
Well, we're definitely past the hour mark at this point.
Now you know why Pengu keeps saying "spank me, daddy."
I don't know. We could keep going a bit if you guys want to, but
I've got more beer. I'm fine.
Oh, we got plenty more in the tank.
We have a lot more things. I don't know if you guys were kind of like looking for an out, seeing as how things are escalating. But
one thing I want to ask is, do you guys know much about what is happening with orgs such as Error, Most Wanted, and obviously Lucky 7? Like, what's happening with the organizations there? Have you guys got any take on those?
Unprofessional noobs trying to run an organization.
Big noobs.
Capable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
basically that. It's the thing is because the thing is, a lot of the fans they don't really see what's behind the scenes, and esports is pretty well established in Counter-Strike and League of Legends, and everything's quite well regulated. But whenever a new game pops up, there's always the scramble. There's always going to be like the smaller orgs getting into the game first because it's less of a risk and whatnot. And just the smaller orgs are going to have difficulty running themselves. There's always going to be a few mistakes, and esports is basically still the Wild West. So makes it exciting, but it also makes it a little bit dangerous. So you have to keep watching what's going on.
Yeah. One thing I always found interesting about your guys' team is you might not be the only team, but you're definitely the most notable team who, of course, the roster has changed a lot over the course of year one, but it's the org, and I mean, Pengu has always been with the org as well, who's been the longest in Siege, and the team itself hasn't really ever changed orgs, which is interesting because a lot of the teams have been changing orgs or getting bigger orgs and stuff like that. And I mean, that's something that I don't really know any of the inside info, but there was some stuff about like rumors about you guys leaving Penta and stuff like that a while back, and then that kind of went away. So
well, I think wasn't it like the rumors were an org came in, but supposedly gave you like a really shit offer or something. That's just what I heard.
probably nothing you guys can discuss. Maybe.
gonna let you take this one, Fabian. I'm gonna slip back into the shadows and make sure I don't say anything bad.
No, there's no, like we shouldn't be commenting anything about organization-wise ourselves. That's just It's not professional from us towards Penta, and it's not professional from us towards whoever we have talked to. So
no.
The only thing I would say is that we, at some point in the future, we might join another org, but we don't know.
I mean, that's in the future as well.
Yeah, it could be like way off in the future. I don't know when, but
yeah.
If I were you guys, I'd just stay with Penta for as long as humanly possible because you already have the charm. So I mean,
yeah.
Well, no, I cried. Like I have my flip side charm. There's no flip side now.
Yeah, they're not flip side. Well, like half the teams that got charms aren't even with the same orgs anymore, which is.
Don't worry, I have my Penta charm, Fabian. It's okay.
I didn't.
I couldn't just not care less.
I also have an Ents charm and a flip side charm and a Black Dragon's charm.
Yeah, so you're a fake fan.
Yeah, I told you I'm not a fan of Penta.
I mean, I'll be thankful for the 0.1 euros that you gave me.
Percent, yeah. Like,
what do you think of the charms? Which one's the best charm? What's the best?
Ugliest.
On looks,
ours is the ugliest.
Yours is a weird look, to be fair. Yours.
I like the Penta charm because it's like it has like the hollow part where it's it's like it's not just like a
frame kind of
right.
I didn't like the vitality charm that much.
Yeah,
that one was the best looking one out of those.
I think it looks pretty.
Yeah, but Fabian, nobody cares about your opinion.
Exactly.
God.
I can get behind.
That's why you guys asked me to come here. I mean, that makes no sense.
I didn't. I mean, basically tonight we were supposed to have Shas, and Shas was like, "Yeah, shall I bring the toxic cunt?" I was like, "Do it."
Wow.
Do you want me to go back and look like this thing? Like, oh, you tagged me. Can you come on? And I didn't even reply. That's how little I cared about what you said. I didn't even reply. I right-click on this Discord channel, and then I put.
Yeah, you don't know that I've actually paid him 500 euros to be here, do you?
He actually did. I demanded 5 million first. But
guys, I posted something on Twitter, right, and everyone's gone into panic. I put breaking news: Shas and Fabian paid off BK to protect them. Shaiko was right. All of a sudden, people are like, "Link the sources. Where's your proof? I agree with you."
Dude, you're just stirring the pot, man.
I'm just gonna post the video clip of you saying, yeah, basically we gave all the 200k prize pool directly into BK's bank account. I'm just gonna post that audio clip on Twitter. Tag all the French players.
It would be in line with mainstream media, so why not?
That's why we do these interviews.
And then just tag BK and be like, whatever you got to say for yourself.
Gotcha.
Got him.
So somebody in Spleck in the channel posted kind of the point I was trying to get to, which is like Penta's the only org left in Pro League from year one, which I don't know if that's actually true because I think PDX isn't an org anymore, sorry, but they're not in the game anymore. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
They're not in Pro League anymore.
You loyal?
Either.
You smart?
Actually, what's your guys' take on that? The whole Swede versus the Brits thing for the Pro League spot. What's your
Swedes
take on
are better?
It has nothing
Fabian.
to do with who's better or who's worse. It has everything to do with legitimacy of claiming the spot, and the Swedes obviously have it.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, the players played more of the games than the other ones. Okay, Leon played one game, but unfortunately, it's Snooken who's played the more games. I think it wasn't it Snooken the last guy to join him? So that's how it's going to be handed over because you have to have a rule to.
It doesn't matter how you do it or how much you fuck over your ex-teammates. You have more games played, you have the spot.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem is like...
It's the thing though that like they said they weren't going to challenge for the spot and then they did. I think that's what caused the most like arguments between...
I think more of the issue is more, and this is maybe just a product of ESL and it's something that I think they're guilty of in more areas, is BK telling Meepy that they have the Pro League spot and then later being like, oh wait, never mind. Which is, of course you didn't know. I think
that was off of the information that they had that the Swedes weren't going to take the spot. Right. So it's like, well, yeah, you have the spot then because, Leon paid one game, but because Snooken's leaving Pro League was the impression, yes, you have the spot.
Percentage-wise, in terms of games played, I think that's the best way to go about it. And
Yeah.
of course, it sucks for Meepy hearing, oh yeah, you guys get the spot, and then a couple weeks later, never mind. But
Oh, I totally emphasize, man.
yeah.
It's rough. It's rough. Meepy's been around as long as me and you, Fabian, right? So that guy's, like all the hard work and the hours put into playing the game, the dedication, the obsession, even, is rough.
Wait,
It's
longer
rough.
than us?
No, he's been in the game as long as us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you said longer than us.
No,
I was
no.
like, he came Pro League season after you and me?
Yeah, it's still a long time, mate.
well, Fabian retired, so percentage-wise,
No,
Yeah,
we
he
played
left
exactly
me
the
in
same.
He
No, no,
left me
I-
in dude.
Yeah, but I played more seasons than him, because he's no longer in Pro League. I'm playing right now. So this is the one that I played one more season than he got.
Meepy's,
I mean, who gives a shit?
Meepy's a
It's-
CL player now, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man. Definitely. But yeah, I don't know. It's a unfortunate situation. That's pretty much
Yeah.
the gist of it. And
It's one of those situations where there's always going to be a loser, unfortunately.
right, I just really hope that the Swedish team with Snooken, I don't know what their team name is. Is it the Digital?
Digital Chaos.
Yeah, Digital Chaos.
Digital Chaos.
I just really hope that they actually that they're not just a bad team.
Perform.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I
I
really
hope
want them to
perform.
perform because if not, then it's just
Because
like
didn't they get the birthday boy in red? I want to say it's his birthday today as we record, isn't it? Or was it yesterday?
It's not today, that's for sure.
today is Necro.
It was a while back, wasn't it? Because obviously he was supposed to be going to Invitational, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Either way, Fabian, Pengu, and Udas played with Reynolds and secretly in the Dream Hack. They're good players. I don't think that the Digital Chaos will just flop. I think they'll do pretty decent. I think they'll be like middle of the pack. I don't know if they'll be, more than that just after making the roster. But I think they'll be a contender, quite a strong one. Let's see on this coming week.
I mean, who do you fancy in the other group to make it to the LAN playoffs?
It's this awkward
got
moment when I don't know which teams are in it.
I was gonna say I need to pull up the thing because it's Ents and Digital.
It's Ents, One Up, Digital Chaos, and
the other
Supremacy
one.
or Vitality.
Vitality. Yeah, now Vitality, former Supremacy.
Oh, that's funny.
All of them.
You want all of them to win or lose?
No, I don't. It's hard to predict. That group is way harder than ours.
Supremacy's, ex-Supremacy's done really well.
Your
for
group is obviously, I mean, everyone fancies you guys, and I think I'd probably say Millennium actually to go into playoffs with you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's wrong.
Well, I don't think Mocket is better than Millennium, and Millennium definitely played better than
Oplon.
Oplon, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are the best two teams right now, seeing as how that's how the bracket has played out. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how that goes. But I am excited to see the other group. I think One Up definitely have proven themselves as yeah.
I think the Group B is a lot more competitive. I think the teams are a lot closer to each other. I mean, you've got Digital Chaos versus Supremacy, or ex-Supremacy, now Vitality. They're doing really well. I mean, you've got a reformed roster full of Swedes. They're going to probably perform a lot better than they have previous seasons because they're all speaking the same language.
Oh, I'd love to hear those comments, dude.
Oh, beautiful Swedish.
Mate, the language of the Swedish language, it's such a beautiful language to listen
to.
Except when Fabian does it, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Fabian just ruins it all.
The Supremacy lineup. Look at Supremacy a couple of seasons ago, and this is not the same team. They're doing faster pushes. They're making more decision making, and then they've got more overall strategy. And I think that's probably because of Heavens, their coach. They've now got a coach doing pretty well, and didn't perform too well. Unfortunately, they came up against us in invitationals, so we knocked them out. But Ents, I think, is of course still a strong team. I think they're second under us, so they're going to be a good game versus One Up. And I'm curious whether One Up's going to be changing anything in their attack meta, or they're still going to be running Yin Glaz. Honestly to God, I think they'll probably just run Lion plus Yin Glaz, and I think Ents might struggle versus that.
Yeah,
well,
I think
what I like is obviously we spoke to Lazo on the podcast, and it was shortly after the invitational qualifiers when they actually lost to Vitality, then Supremacy, and he said they actually hate playing against them because to quote his words exactly, They are a perfect counter to the way they play, to quote his words. Like he said, that they hate coming up against them because they just always beat them. They know how they.
But the problem with many teams is that they look at Siege as rock, paper, scissors, and then they have their playstyle. Like people were saying, like, oh, defensive beats aggressive and passive, some shit like that.
It's a lot more nuanced than that.
If you play rock, paper, scissors, and you only have one thing that you pull out every time, then you're stupid, right? You can't sit there and pull out paper. Pull out the different ones. And if you say that there's a team that has a perfect counter to you, then you're actually not the brightest team if you don't change up something to counter that playstyle that they have.
Yeah, but like what I was going to say is that whenever we've scrimmed Vitality now, X Supremacy, they've always had a much different playstyle than any other team, haven't they, Fabian?
Yeah, but
we have to change how we play to play against Supremacy in ways that
everybody
we don't
has to do that
for any other team.
I think that's what Meepy said too. Maybe during the Supremacy match, I don't remember who they played in the playoffs in the quarterfinals at Invitationals. I don't know if you guys maybe remember that.
It was they got knocked out.
Rogue, right? Wasn't it Rogue?
No, wait. What are we talking about here?
The playoffs for the Invitationals. They played against Rogue, right?
Yes.
And I remember Meepy tweeting shortly after that game that it's extremely hard to describe Supremacy's playstyle and how it is to play against them without playing against them yourself. Like, they have an incredibly unique playstyle, which makes it hard to counter them.
I would agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. They're different.
Right. And I remember seeing you guys, I think, from a spectator perspective, it seemed like a quite sloppy game on your guys' behalf. I think it was season 2, playing against Supremacy right when they came over from Xbox, or first season they were in Pro League anyways. And I remember they brought you guys to 3 maps, and it was a lot closer than I think it maybe would have been.
Anyone was expecting. Honestly, that was the first time we played against him, if I remember correctly, Fabian, right? So we beat them.
But I also remember why they won Cafe against us, and that's because
I can't. Tell me.
One player had such massive panic attacks and then dropping in the hatch.
Oh,
yeah. And he melted the hatch, and I'm like, bro, how hard is to hold a hatch from a side angle? You can legit kill them when they're on the ground, and they will not have any chance to react. And then he lets go of the hatch, they drop the hatch, and they win the round.
Anyway, let's move on from this painful memory.
I remember watching that. That was when it was just such a it was kind of hard to watch in a way when that was on Consulate. You guys played them, and Pango got that 1v3 when he was planting like directly next to the pulse, and the pulse like throws the C4 like across the room out of the fucking park. When Pango was like directly next to him planting, and then he got like the deagle kill because the Valkyrie was loading on like 20 bullets. It was a strange game. It was a very strange game. But
yeah, Pango does pull out some crazy clutches, doesn't he? He needs to start playing Blackbeard again for some of those deagle clutches.
Yeah, the deagle clutches are
spicy.
So, yeah, they're pretty spicy. it's
spicy memes.
Yeah. I don't know. So. I don't know if how much more we have planned here in terms of questions.
Well,
but
if you've got any questions off the cuff or planned, just throw them at me.
What was actually on the agenda? I forgot. I sent it you.
I just wanted to ask, like, do you think there's any like particular reason other than you guys knowing the map well that you guys are just like the best? Probably. I feel safe saying the best team in the world on Consulate.
I have the best player in the world. Players, even. So, I mean, that helps.
Well, you got being the best team in the world in general kind of helps with that.
I guess you've got Shate, Pengu, Udas, and then, what's that other good player? Oh, yeah, that Goga guy, but...
He's not good. He's always bottom fragging in stats.
It's funny, though. Like, every team kind of has those, like, you never play this team on this map, right? But it's like, it's incredible to me how many different teams you guys can play on Consulate, and you basically never lose.
We've only lost once.
Yeah, you lost it once.
Entire competitive career with this lineup.
Who is it? Who's it to? Do you remember?
Ends in the seeding match.
In the seeding.
right?
Yeah, we were trolling a little bit too much, in my opinion.
Seeding is very serious games, you know.
Yeah, I was serious. You weren't. Bloody blowing my top.
Tashanka is the
Anyway.
best operator.
Should
yeah.
have picked it, bro. If you were trolling, you should have picked it. Like,
Can we
full-fledged
expect
trolling.
to see the Lord against Millennium?
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, Fabian. Hashtag confirmed.
You better hold that promise. I want to see Tachanka come out against Millennium now.
Dylan is on Siege GG writing the article right now. Fabian confirms Tachanka pick against Millennium. Most
Dylan,
toxic player
while-
confirmed.
Dylan or Spleck, while you're here, write it up. Fabian has promised to play Tachanka against Millennium.
Yeah. No
The Lord
backsies.
shall return.
One thing I also wanted to mention, which is like, I don't really think it's an out of meta pick because of the ridiculous meta right now, but was Caveira kind of like a, we're not playing the best team right now, try it out? Or was that a, like, this is what's going to
genuine
work?
It was Shafta asking, Fabian, can I play Caveira?
Wait,
And I'm like,
do you not remember me saying we could play Caveira on bank?
no, you didn't.
Because there's people playing Jack all the time now, and so
That's what I'm
you know,
thinking.
Shafta asked if he could play it, and I said, I don't care, you play what you want, and then he picked it.
That's the thing is, like, the only direct counter to Lion plus Jackal is Cav or standing on a mute jammer. But the problem is, standing on a mute jammer only counters Lion, like, you're still getting tracked by Jackal. So it's really only Cav. It's the only way to counter that. So do you think it's the kind of thing where it's like, maybe you should be bringing Cav? And mute,
It's like
maybe?
Milosh touched on. A lot of teams are actually bringing Cav in some instances. She's gone from being a non-picked operator to being picked a little bit here and there, just like a little sprinkle.
You know, but that's what some of these operators should be. They shouldn't be overpowered, but they should be nuanced, and so that you can bring her for one specific reason to counter this team if you execute it correctly. You know.
Right. I like what they did with Cav, because I think they did with Cav, maybe accidentally, what they were trying to do with Blitz when they made him sprint with the shield up, where they made him, like, they were like, oh, let's make Blitz like a viable operator so people can play him in Pro League, and like all the operators can be picked like every now and then. But then of course they went way overboard with Blitz. But I think they maybe accidentally, maybe it was on purpose, did with Cav exactly that, where it's like Cav can work in situations, and like, she's a fairly viable counter to the meta right now. Against
The problem
certain
is that
teams.
they try to make every upper viable and playable in Pro League. Or no, sorry, not in Pro League. In every game mode, in casual, in ranked, and in Pro League. And then they can look at every rank, and it's like they want to have silvers being able to play all the operators. And it's like, that's not how it works. If someone is, like, their head is thicker than a brick, then maybe they shouldn't know how to play every operator.
I think Cav being at a 0% pick rate in Pro League is perfectly fine for me. Like, I don't need to see Cav picked in Pro League ever. But seeing her picked like as a kind of like weird like off pick counter is interesting. But when Blitz was at a 0% pick rate at the start of year 2, I felt the exact same way, and then they went ahead and they kind of just ruined it for everybody. This is why we can't have nice, mildly
But
balanced
it's just
operators.
difficult balancing stuff, isn't it? They just
Right.
went a little bit too overboard.
Yeah. The thing that bothered me is, like, after seeing how everything went in at invitationals, they were still like, we should buff Blitz a bit more, because it's like you said, when they reveal the operators in Montreal, they're already like decided that they're going to ship them that way. And I think that's what happened with Blitz too, was like seeing that Blitz was extremely strong in Pro League and at invitational didn't really make a difference in how they decided to balance him.
Yeah,
for the
no,
next
there's a
season.
schedule that they're working towards, and they will stick to that schedule,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I think there's always, you know, and unless they do a little bit of restructuring in how they operate, there's always going to be a little bit of that lag of decision making from the game devs on how to make these changes, unfortunately.
Yeah. Because I think
But you know what they say? We are professional players. We need to just adapt and overcome everything that's new.
Yeah.
Well, it's
But adapting?
50-50. It's 50-50.
Ubisoft haven't
maybe.
adapted.
No, they
I mean,
haven't.
They don't
They
adapt
haven't.
to shit. We can come and tell them anything, and they will be like, okay. That's it.
It's 50-50 because at the end of the day, Fabian, you have to realize and recognize that you are a human being, and human beings don't like change. but some of the stuff that they have changed is a little bit like thick skulled.
What would you
doesn't
then?
make any sense.
Yeah, an alcoholic. I don't know if they
Yeah,
can.
alcoholic, mate.
To be fair.
I am your father. That's why I left.
I don't know if you heard it. It was when you disappeared. Or you said, yeah, I'll be back in a sec. I'm going to get a beer. I was like, he's our friend when he's cracking open a cold one with us. Fabian's response, no, he does that all the time. He's an alcoholic.
Oh, I'm British. I mean, it's in the genes.
I don't drink at all.
Literally,
I
he
hate
keeps
it.
a beer in his
I hate
jean
it.
pocket.
You wait. Life will break you.
No, I don't like it. I've tried it all. I don't like any of it. I'm not a
How
drinker.
old are you?
That's what they all say.
17.
Aw, cute.
That's why.
I'm
You've
Barbie.
got some time. Don't worry.
Fabian, don't worry. I'm making the switch over to PC in a couple of months, and I know you're looking for a 6th, so yeah.
I know you're looking for
I'm
somebody
here.
to replace
You're
Big
available.
Shot. I got a
To be
3K
fair,
as mirror in a scrim one
I
time,
think
so...
I mean, to be fair, I could probably do better than Goga. Lol.
I mean, anybody could.
No, I like Goga. Goga's brilliant.
I
I
don't.
love him. Hey, but Fabian, you don't even like your teammates. You just play with them because you win. You don't care about being
that's
with
pretty
them.
much like
You just
me.
care
Like,
about winning.
I played ranked with my teammates today so I could get to diamond, so I have the charm. And I was like, the entire time, I was like, this is just the worst. But I got diamond, so we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Me and Fabian are the same.
The person that I think doesn't receive enough recognition on the team, and I'm just bringing this up as an odd topic. I think Unis doesn't receive enough recognition from like the public or the casters, because like sometimes
Really?
he does
I
crazy
think that's
stuff.
Goga.
Well,
Well,
I think
it's a bit both.
I think the casters like to point out whenever Goga does, like if Goga clutches like a 1v2 or 1v3, the casters are always like, hey, look, he's like on support, but he's still like a really good player, and they like to point it out. But with Junis, I think, yeah, like you said,
the
Chess,
thing
that
is, like when you've got five aside on either side, both alive, you need to cause some action. Otherwise, you see there's a lot of teams just stall and they sit there. Then they sit there for about 30 seconds. They're gathering information, trying to work out what to do, and then they'll like tenderly, there's a stray animal that's scared will walk over to a wall and try and thermite it, and then like slowly stuff will start to happen. But that's not how Unis plays. Unis will literally just run into a room, spear tackle someone, and try and kill them. And that's the way that Unis plays. Yeah, so a lot of the time Unis will die early, but he's basically putting himself in a crazy situation where he runs into a room and there's 3 people in that room and he manages to kill 1 and dies to the rest. Like, he's just insane.
Yeah. In a situation like that, if he takes that 2, that's fine, really.
Yeah.
Manage in your favour.
But no, I would like if you get the chance to watch Unis, I would definitely watch more of Unis because
I try like the way I analyze. I mean, I'll do a general analysis. I'll try and keep track of everything, and then I do obviously like you might do sometimes. You play a specific analysis where you just focus on that one specific player, see how they play, and how they make the team tick, so to speak.
Yeah. I'm excited to see in the Millennium match. I'm really excited to see you guys play and
I think like Liven said in the pre-match interview, it's he said it's probably the best Millennium have felt. They think the synergy is there, and I agree with that. I think Riz and Hicks have been great additions to the roster, and they've helped out the team a lot, really.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Riz. I thought Riz played fantastic. I mean, I don't know if Thingamajiggly Wobbly Bob's got stats for how Riz played. Fucking, what's his name? I forgot.
Spleck.
The Randy. Spleck.
The Randy. May's calling
Spleck, I love
people
you,
Randy's. Tosic.
Spleck, I love you. Sorry, Spleck, but have you got any stats of Riz against Oplon? Because I think he was also the MVP in that game, I want to say.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was funny watching your guys' match, Chess, was Voy on Market. It's kind of like he's always this flank holder, and I was watching it with a friend of mine, and it was kind of like a bit of a joke between us after a certain point where every single round you guys would just kill everybody and Voy would just be sitting there like holding the flank still. He was just it's like on coastline he was always on the roof. What was the first
round? there was a round
Oh,
on
yeah, it was
Coastline
blank.
where we literally just like actuated, like they
Yeah,
started
yeah.
maneuvering into a certain position, and then we basically just pushed back into their position, got 4 kills, and those boys.
I remember that. He was on the roof,
There you go.
and then like on bank, he was like
I
on the
feel for
parking
you.
garage,
I
just
feel
sitting
for
there
you.
holding the angle.
Yeah, I feel.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's really rough.
Yeah, there you go. Like I was saying with the new additions, obviously Riz and Hicks. It's like Riz went 12-8. You know, it's decent. And then Hicks went 17-4 against Oplon, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Not
good.
as impressive as the Swedish beast Fabian went against Mocket, though.
I mean, it doesn't
Nearly,
matter
but
how
not
comfortable
quite.
Millennium feel. They're still going up against Penta.
And
I mean,
Fabian,
you
most
mean
importantly,
they're going up against Fabian, so
big
you know.
lion.
I mean, 19-6 over 13 rounds.
Not too bad.
GG, easy peasy for Fabian.
Yeah.
I'm a god. Bow down to me, peasants.
Were all those 6 deaths on defense?
I don't know. Most of them were.
I would have to imagine.
Hey, Spleck, have you got stats for that? If Fabian died on attack or defense? I need to see this now.
Well,
I'll do that later tonight. I'll go watch it and see if you died on attack or defense.
I know
Oh
Fabian.
no, Spleck says he's got it. Oh dear, Spleck's got the stats.
He's got the sets.
I think this man's on Ritalin or something. He's just like speeding through at lightning speed through the VOD, just writing it down.
No, he's the head stack guy for Siege GG and that stuff.
I know Fabian has to peace out right now, so I just want to say thanks a lot, Fabian, for coming on. It was great having you and talking.
No worries.
It was
We'll see
interesting
each other.
hearing your perspective and.
Fabian, thank you very much for your time. Loving the toxicity, and you know, maybe we'll catch up again in the future when you play bad, so I can rinse you to shit for it. Okay?
Sorry, I just do not remember your voice. Have I talked to you before?
Alright, take care, Fabian. Have a
See
good
you
one.
later, boys. Have a good
I
night.
hate you, Fabian. Goodbye.
Doesn't matter if you hate me.
Oh, fuck off already. You're getting booted from the server. Hold on, let me just boot
That's
this guy
fine.
from the server.
Just so you
Hang
guys
on, where
know,
is he?
Gas is our
Ready?
Make-A-Wish Come True Foundation.
Settings.
All I do is I sit behind them and I'm
Members.
free. That's all I do.
Screw you
Fabian,
guys.
not ban, kick Fabian, done. There we go.
It was a lot more. I like the dynamic of hearing like your perspective versus Fabian Shas, because Shas.
On which topic, sorry?
No, just in general, because like you guys have kind of a similar role in terms of like the strategy and the like mentality or whatever. But since like Fabian is in game all the time and you're just like observing.
I'm an advisor. Like I
Yeah.
don't really. I think a lot of coaches go into the role and they'll basically go in and say, well, I can see everything because I'm sitting above everybody and I look over everything that everybody does, and my perspective is always right. And I don't do that. I don't dictate to the team what they should do. I'll come to them and say, hey, I've identified a problem. We need to fix this or have some strat for this problem. And then I'll try and come up with like 3 different things or 5 different things of doing it. And if they can't think of something like better than what I've done, then we'll break it down and we'll start going through the options.
Fabian died 4 times on attack.
Yeah,
What
I don't
a
know how
noob.
that happened.
He's not
I
even.
don't know how.
He's not
playing
even a good
Lion
lion.
as well. Jesus
Gonna have
Christ.
to bring that up with him.
I mean, could you do me a favour and put someone else on Lion? Thanks. That's a problem I've noticed with the team. Fabian's a poor Lion player, so I think that role of Lion should be dropped onto someone else.
When Fabian's not here to talk shit back, it's just so toxic.
I feel like this entire episode has just been me and Fabian trash talking each other.
Yeah.
But it's fun, I enjoy that.
Well,
it's fun.
I think I gotta dip out as well as Fabian, and
Yeah, no worries.
so I'm probably
I'm going to dip as well. We might as well bring it all to a close. I'm just wondering if there's any questions, any last
I don't know.
one-liners you want to do.
Let's get Spleck and Dylan in quickly. Right, Spleck, you're unmuted. Got anything to say? Dylan, you two? Anything you guys want to add? Last final words?
Not
You're gonna
really.
die?
Have I drained you of all your
Um,
bodily fluids?
I think I have one.
Visit
I have a question.
CGG for all the advanced stats that you could possibly want. We're gonna have them up on the website soon, TM. But right now it's just in our secret database.
Very nice.
Speaking
I
of
appreciate it.
which,
It's a lot of hard
nobody's
work going through it.
accepted my offer right to become a writer, so what's this bullshit about?
Radio silence. Just hold the radio silence.
I didn't hear what he said.
I mean, what's this bollocks as nobody's got back to me as I apply to be a writer? I am the greatest I'll have and,
for CGG.
a thing deserves me. Yeah, it's bollocks.
Oh, I can yell at Finn. He's the one that
just yell at Finn and say, "Let Maze be a writer."
Every time somebody applies to help with stats, I get back to them the day of. I don't know what the writing department is doing.
Honestly, I'd love to help you with stats. I tried it once. I lost count after 3 rounds.
Oh, the way we do it, it's an absolute idiot can do it because
I am an idiot, so teach me.
I got a piece out
DM
now.
me if you're actually curious.
Okay,
Sorry,
all right,
take
care, guys.
But thanks a lot, Shas. It was a lot.
Question.
Oh, Dylan, or sorry.
Hurry up, Dylan, before he dies. Just
Okay,
go.
so when your guys were down 2-0 to EG, what did you have to tell your teammates? Like in between the.
So I don't know if you've seen the art of the movie, but I think you Fabian like saying a load of stuff.
That was my favorite thing.
Yeah, I mean, basically at that point it was good cop, bad cop, because Fabian was pretty pissed coming out of the game, and like understandably we were playing like complete trash. I expected the band phase went the way it went because I expected to win those first 2 maps, lose Cafe, and then pick the final map point on the last 2 maps. Didn't go that way, so we came off of that going into CAF that we didn't feel really comfortable about, and it looked pretty shit. Fabian was like obviously giving them the bad cop routine of shouting and screaming and saying you need to pick it up, and I was doing the good cop of saying, right, you just need to go through the comms, you just need to go down normal stuff, stop stressing. So we kind of took it from both angles. So that's what was going through. I honestly I was shit myself, dude. I needed to change my diaper after being 2-0 down. It was rough. It was rough. They put up a good game, and kudos to them. They are a good team, EG.
I wish the after movie had some more of. Well, they didn't have any of the actual in-game comms. I wish they had some of the actual like comms from certain points during the game.
Yeah. It's like with Overwatch. I don't know if you've watched Overwatch. I want to take Overwatch League as an example again here because that's actually brilliant. But they actually obviously the comms of the players are recorded all the time. Obviously the face cams actually did have the invitational. I love the face cams. The face cams are brilliant. I love them. It's like, especially like seeing after someone's got a clutch in their face where they just go nuts. It's the best.
You've got the emotion.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's growing. I think the infrastructure and the production value of Siege is growing, so that you will have that soon. I've basically told ESL and said like it's probably be a cool thing if you could do this. And they're taking it step by step, and they're making sure that when they do execute something, they're doing it, most of the time pretty well. Yeah. So
of course you ask them because you're in BK's pocket.
Shh, dude, like, you need to correct your tweet because people are going to believe that because some people are silly.
People are going to believe this.
People are silly.
Can I get a little tidbit? Just just one tiny thing. I want to know like what the comms were like when Fabian was in a 1v1 with Monty and Necrox somehow missed an entire mag. And the expression
on the kill on Monty.
Yeah, and the expression on Shate's face.
We all just cracked up. I mean, you can see it in the after film. I'm just sitting there. I don't know what I'm doing at that point in my brain. My brain's shutting down when I see that. I'm just like, what the hell is happening? Everybody's laughing. Everybody's just like, Jesus Christ, what happened? And there were a few potatoes. Best Necrox. He was under a lot of pressure.
That was just. Oh, it was upsetting to watch because the face cam makes it so much. It's like that scene from The Simpsons where it's like you can pinpoint the moment where Necrox's heart breaks when you're just watching him potato on an ADSing Monty, and it's just like, how?
Yeah, it was rough, man. It was rough. I feel for him, dude. I do.
I had the exact same reaction as everybody in your team though, because I was watching at home and I was like, I felt the same as you. I felt the same as you. I was like, how?
That one was pretty heartbreaking.
Because basically, I had this thing where I played this game. I had like a tournament or something that I was playing, and then basically I watched the live stream like almost live, but I was watching it like 5 minutes behind everybody else. So like if I opened Twitter, I would see like the results of the next like 2 rounds. So I was like super hyper careful not to like do anything, and then every time it would catch up those 7 minutes, I would have to like refresh the stream so it loaded like the next 7 minutes afterwards, and I would always like it was the most stressful experience and
especially when it got to coastline and it was 4-4. Right?
Yeah, and it was like you guys went down 2-0, and I was like, no, dude, like I like had my phone.
It would have been the most disappointing finals ever.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, this is stressful, and then like I don't know, dude. It was. I don't know, cause like I was cheering for you guys the whole time. Like I remember,
it's like I said, come that final map, I was on my knees praying. I was like, please
Lord.
Please, EG. Please, EG.
It's actually
Choke EG.
I have,
EG
I have
choke.
a question for Shaz.
Go for it.
You mentioned that you were really confident going into the first two maps. EG is, I guess, has shown that they're really, really good on club. You know, they beat One Up twice. They beat Rogue on it, obviously, in that ridiculous retake. So I guess, did you guys like know something that the viewer didn't, and like it just didn't?
No, we didn't know anything different. We just looked at their games and they weren't anything special in our opinion. I mean no disrespect to EG when I say this. I think that we played those maps better anyway. We didn't play them on that stage better. I think that we could beat them on those maps if we played again. But you know, I think anyone in either any coach situation, whether it be me or BKM, would probably say this anyway. Yeah, but I think we should have beaten them on Clubhouse, honestly.
And that's the thing. That's the thing.
Mentality wasn't there when we were playing. Like, we weren't communicating correctly, and we weren't even doing our normal stuff. I just can't. I still can't get over we lost Oregon, because Oregon should have been a walk in the park.
Oregon was a close map though. Like you guys,
They lost Club 5-2, but then they lost Oregon 5-6.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it this way: we pretty much sailed through the entire tournament, and it was only when we were on the biggest stage with the big pressure that we started cracking. And I think there was a little bit of PTSD from Brazil and Sao Paulo, and because that was quite upsetting to lose. So I think there was a little bit of PTSD and the fear of losing, and I think that shook up the mentality of the players and made us play really bad for those first two maps. And then we lost those two maps. We're backstage. We're pretty much saying, boys, why are we panicking? Like, if we're going to lose, we might as well lose and actually play the game rather than sitting there like pussies and not playing properly. So, and then all the fear was removed. All the fears on EG side, because they have to close the game, and we managed to creep it back up to 2 maps apiece.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I need to go now. Thank you very much for having me, and sorry about Fabian.
No. Is that just how you? Is that just what you say after every LAN event? You're like, thanks for having us play. Like, it was a good game. Sorry about Fabian.
I've been coaching Fabian for 2 years now, so I know exactly how difficult it can be to be in his presence. So.
Alright, take care.
Cheers. Thank you very much for having me. And if any fans of this